What's going on, guys? It's Ben here from breif Aquatics. In today's video, we're just going to be talking about how to breed guppies for profit real quick. Gonna have a short little talk up front here, then I'm gonna go and show you guys around the fish room the certain guppies, what tanks I have for males and females, the separation process that I go through, and how I breed the guppies to actually get them to be able to be sale size. There is quite the process to this, but we're going to try and condense it down to a 5-minute video. So let's get right started with it. Okay guys, so number one most important thing when breeding for profit, you have to decide what you want to do, how you want to breed for profit. Do you want to breed so that you can sell your fish at auctions? Or do you want to breed so that you can sell your fish to pet stores, like local fish stores? Maybe you can even find a contract if you breed enough fish per year to sell to a bigger box store. But most likely you'll get in with a local fish store and try and sell to them. Once you've decided that, you have to make sure that you have the stock to sell to them. Because if you ever run out and this store is relying on you to bring them guppies, in my case guppies, but in your case whatever you want to breed, this goes for any fish you breed, and you don't have the fish, then they're going to have to get it from somewhere else, and it might be a deciding factor on whether or not they want to buy fish from you in the future. So make sure you always are in stock, make sure you're always breeding. If you don't have enough to sell to them for an entire year or for as long as they want to buy from you, then you are not ready to sell. Next up, we're going to be talking about the separation process. As you can see right here, this is the tank where my big breeding females are. I put a couple of males in here every month, and they breed pretty frequently. They breed. I have two big breeding females. They drop about 20 babies a piece, and when they have dropped, I immediately take those babies out of this tank and put them into this 15-gallon. As you can see the juveniles from last month's drop. They have not dropped this month yet, so we do not have any little ones to show you. After the fish, after the juveniles have grown into younger adult size, a little bit larger, of course, not as young as the young juveniles. They about this size, obviously. This is the young adult size that I'm speaking of. This is the female tank. All females get separated into their own tank because we do not want to breed them with males, especially if you're going to try and sell them. So separate your females. I have all my females in this bottom 10-gallon and all my males in this top 10-gallon. As you can see, I've just fed them. The females go through their food really quickly. I'm trying to beef them up because some of them will become future breeders for my breeding for profit little scheme here. And some of these males I'm also trying to beef up. That's why they got fed a little bit more today, because eventually I'll use them in breeding for profit in the future too. Not all of these will be used though. Some of them will be for sales, so on. I'm not going to go into that too much. So anywho, we have our male tank up here, our female tank down there, we have our juvenile fry tank way over here, and last but not least, we obviously have our breeding female tank right here. Now, breeding for profit, me personally, I'm trying to breed for profit to sell to local fish stores. So when doing that, it means you're going to have to sell wholesale prices. You're probably only going to get anywhere from 25 cents to $1 per guppy if that's what you decide to sell. If you are breeding something more like cichlids, I have never done it before personally, so the price can range anywhere from 25 cents, maybe even 10 cents, depending on how small the fish you're trying to sell is, all the way up to maybe 15 bucks if it's a big, nice discus. I really don't know because I've never done anything bigger than live bearers before. So, obviously, you have to keep in mind that you're not going to get a ton of money, but if you breed a large portion and sell a large portion to them each year, you can turn around quite a bit of a profit. In breeding for profit, you need to make sure that you pay off all expenses. That's the point of breeding for profit. Nothing is considered profit unless you've made more than you've originally spent. So you need to make sure that you include your electric bill, your water bill, all the extra expenses, like for instance, if you need to buy heaters, you need to buy filters, different things like that, you have to include that all in the amount of money that you make, because let's say you make $2,000, you spend $2,500 a year, you're not making any profit. In fact, you're in the hole $500. So you want to make sure that you're always making more than what you originally spent, so that you actually breed for profit. Now, when breeding for profit, you want to get your fish to sale size as quick as possible, because you always want to be ready for when the buyer is ready to buy from you. Just like I stated in the beginning, it's never good to be selling to a pet store, and when they need fish, you don't have it, then that's a big problem. So let's say you are a little bit behind and you want to try and get these fish growing as fast as possible. You want to amp up the feeding. Now, that does not mean you feed larger amounts. It just means that you feed more frequently throughout the day in smaller amounts. Something I learned from a couple of my people who have been in the hobby for a longer period of time. They have taught me that smaller amounts more frequently throughout the day often helps with growth, especially if you add different sources of food. So I feed spirulina, which is high in protein, every single night, and I feed this big chunky flake right when I wake up and around lunchtime. Obviously during the school year, I'm not going to be able to do that, but when I get home from school, I will do the second feeding of the big chunky tropical flakes and still do the spirulina at night. That's how I get mine to get to the largest size as quick as possible. It works very well, especially when I'm trying to beef up the females for breeding, and it gets fry to grow very quickly. Now, with filters and heating and stuff like that, I'm not trying to get into that because this is not supposed to be a care guide, but it is optimal to have. I've had most success when I have a hotter tank than cold, and it for whatever the reason, it has worked for me. I don't know any of the science behind it, but I've gotten more breeding when the water's warmer rather than when it's colder. Obviously, I feel like that's just kind of self-explanatory right there. Filtration, I use sponge filters. It's not that big of a deal. You can use whatever you want as long as it works. Mulm, some people like it, some people don't. I personally do, just like Michael from Michael's Fish Room. I like it because the fry will feed off the bottom if there is mulm there, and it intensifies their growth rate. Added onto that, if you want your fry to grow faster rather than boosting the growth rate of your like young adults, then you want to lower the water. So let's say you only have 10-gallon tanks, lower the water halfway and run it at that until the fry are young adults, because the less water there is in the tank, the higher chance the fry are going to have actually finding food, and that will increase their growth rate because they'll be eating more, and it will increase the efficiency of their growth. Lastly, you want to start off small and you want to grow yourself. Alright, me, when I personally started breeding for profit, like 3 years back, I started off pretty small, but I didn't let my fish grow. I started selling fish when they were still juvenile size and I did not get much money for them. I know it might be painstaking waiting for them to grow, but it really pays off. If you're doing guppies or live bearers, never, once you've got 100 guppies, don't sell them. Don't go take 90 and go and sell them off. Keep the 100, let them reproduce so that you have 500 the next month. And then once you have a good like colony, a solid like 200 to 300 guppy colony going, then you will be all set for the rest of the time that you were breeding for profit. Because if you sell them right away and then they are gone, alright, you have maybe 10 left, you have to wait a whole nother 3 months for them to breed 100 guppies again. Whereas if you just have 100 solid colony, 100 to 300 of a solid colony in any of your tanks, doesn't matter which tank you have it in. Me personally, I have 15 of them. You have constant 100 to 300 fish reproducing each month. If let's say each of them get 20 babies and you have 150 females, big number. I can't do math right now. It's pretty late. Yeah. Make it easy on yourself, make it profitable, and you will be successful. I hope you guys enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed making it. We did go over the 5-minute period a little bit, but that's okay. If you like this video as much as I did, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to my channel. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys next Sunday. Peace.